Okay, so this video right here is Dear Bombshell, and I'm doing a question from the guy and a question from the girls. The question from the girl will be first tonight. She works in the food industry, and she recently had a run-in with her former boyfriend. And she saw him with a new love, and she immediately tried to avoid him because she was going to be assigned to wait on his table. However, he requested her to wait on them, so she was forced to wait on them. She didn't let him see her cry or stumble in front of him, and she even tried to act like she didn't know him, and he said, come on, we know each other. There's no need for the distant act. And he went so far to introduce her to his new girlfriend, and then she went behind the scenes and broke down crying after he left. What I have to say to you is bravo for you. You are very brave, very, you've been through the do. He cheated on you to begin with and left you for this other woman. And here you are having to face him and that woman again. Just know it's not your fault. Just know, be the better person, and try to put one foot in front of the other. I know it's so easier said than done. And, for him to be so crude and unthoughtful and non-caring about your own feelings, that's just wrong. And my heart goes out to you. Just keep doing you. And if he comes in again, tell I don't care what you have to do, but don't wait on that table. Tell him, hey, I'm sick, or I feel sick, or I feel like I'm gonna faint. Get out of it some way, somehow. If you have to offer somebody $20, maybe $10 not to wait on that table, do it. But for right now, you need to put you first. And just know that, he knows that you still have feelings for him. Otherwise, he wouldn't be doing that. Okay? So that's just really, it's non-gentlemanly of him to do that to you. So my heart goes out to you. And I'll put you in my prayers, and I hope things improve for you. I really do. One of my guy friends had just the opposite happen to him. He's in love with this girl. He's told her that he's in love with her. But when he thought, he'd get, I love you right back. Instead, what he got was, yeah, okay. And literally, that was the response he got. Now he's thinking that she's cheating on him because he didn't hear I love you too, or I feel the same, or ditto. It was a yeah, okay. Now, in his situation, they've been going on 4 months of dating back and forth, him driving to town and her going to visit him. And I asked him point blank, well, was she on the middle of a phone conversation? Was she talking with somebody else? And even though, if he said those 3 words, she should have been focused and zeroed in on him and nobody else. I don't know what's going on in today's world. It's getting sadder and sadder. It's like that B.J. Thomas song, whatever happened to old-fashioned love? Apparently it's dead, folks. Just like most of these relationships are. And all I can tell you, hun, is keep doing you. And you are a good-looking, handsome man. You're going to have no problem in moving forward. You're too young for me, so before anybody thinks that I'm hitting on him, he's too young for me. But he's a good-looking, handsome man, and he could have any woman in his age group that he wanted. So make sure that he knows, you're going to get through this as well. And right now, I know she may be your world. She may be your everything. That's what you think and that's what you feel. And that's fine. You're allowed to have that thinking process and that thought process. But just know, if she didn't say that back to you, I'm concerned for you. So, I'm, as an elderly, motherly kind of advice, take a step back from the relationship. Start to see if her priorities are the same as where you want to be on the same page. Maybe be like having some excuses why you can't meet up. Trust me, I know I've heard every excuse in the book why you can't meet up. You can try. You've got something to do at the house. You got some sort of thing. You get called into work. There's just no way about it. You have to go to work. You know, or one of your guy friends is having troubles, and you're gonna have a guy poker night to cheer him up. Now, some of y'all may think that's unheard of, but it's not unheard of in today's modern world. You got, because of all those girls, when we have problems, we call up our friends and we're like, he cheated on me, get over here and bring the biggest thing of ice cream you can find. Just saying. So, guys do that too, but they gather around beer and cards and stuff like that. But although they shouldn't be drinking, it's bad for their liver. And if they're driving, that's even worse. But just saying, guys and girls, you got to respect one another. You got to find communication, and it can't be silent communication. It can't be nonverbal communication. It has to be from your mouth. It has to be face to face, and that's the hardest kind to do. Let me tell you, it's the hardest kind to do. But if you can look at them in the eye and say how you think and how you feel, then and they can't tell you back, hey, I love you too, then there's concerns about that relationship. There may be somebody on the side. I hate to break it to you, but there could be. Okay? I'm just trying to give y'all points of light here of what could be going on. There's probably Susie on the side, or Johnny on the side, or I don't know, somebody on the side. If she's not saying it back to you, there's a problem. Now, this kind of reminds me of my situation when I was first with Mike, because he was younger than me, and, the bad part of our relationship was long distance. A. B. Was being fearful to fall in love is a horrible thing, when when you drop that L word, I don't care if it's the first time, second time, third time, fourth time, or whatever, it is the worst thing to repeat. Maybe this person that, you said I love you to is fearful of falling in love, has been hurt before, and thinking that you're saying it too quickly. But the only way to find out isn't through a text message, isn't through a phone call. It's through communication face to face and a sit down talk. That means she sits down, you sit down across each other from the same table. I know, it's a foreign expression, kids. And forget the technology. Leave the technology out of it. Okay? Whether it's Alexander Graham Bell's technology or whether it's the cell phone technology, I don't know who invented those. Leave that technology out of it. Just sit there and be two people. And really dig deep. If you want to go this route, you can go this route. Sit her down and go, okay, look, I said I love you. You said, yeah, you too, or something to that effect. You felt disregarded, you felt disrespected, and you would like to know if maybe there's something going on in her life she's not sharing with you. You're not accusing, you're asking. You're leaving an open-ended question. Trust me, I've learned, use open-ended questions. Do not assume, because if you assume, you can lose everything. And sometimes you don't get a second chance because of the way you sound, the way you accuse can be horrible, and you don't get that second chance. So don't be in a boat of saying what might have been or what should have been. Be in the boat of, I want this and this is going to happen. Make it happen. If you are in love with this chick and she's not giving you that, I love you back, talk it out. Don't walk away. Don't jump to conclusions. Talk it out. That's my advice for you. Well, I hope I've been helpful for you guys tonight. I'm wound up as an 8-day clock, so I'm going to have to get off here and either do exercise or something. I don't know. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow. God bless. Please keep your social distance. Wash your hands. When you can't wash your hands, use your hand sanitizer. Always make sure that you are, I'll say it in a minute, keeping your 3 feet of social distance, wearing your mask. I wish you faith, hope, and love, prosperity, of course. Lots of prosperity in your bank and in your heart. And make sure that you'd want better for others than yourself. Make sure you know it's better to give than to receive. With all that, God bless. Till we meet again tomorrow. Thank you for the questions. Thank you. I hope I helped you tonight. And maybe it wasn't the best advice, but, the heart can somewhat be so damaged sometimes that the best advice that you can only give is the advice that you give yourself. And sometimes these advices come to yourself when you least expect it. So maybe you just haven't realized yet that you don't need my advice, but it'll come to you with what you should do in your own time. So with that, I'll leave you to think it over, ponder it over, because after all, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, but you just came to me as a listening board, and I hope that I gave you some answers to ponder. And if you think about, I'm going to probably ramble here a couple more minutes. If you think about a person, and in each situation, the first situation with the girl having that guy come into the restaurant where she worked at, you know, while I think he was being a macho man and not showing you the respect or a gentlemanly courtesy by just avoiding you, it's hard. I mean, it's hard to see him with somebody else, and when they're better looking than you, and you know, when they have makeup on and they look like a 25 on a 1 to 10 scale, and you feel like you don't even register on a 1 to 10, you know. And somebody asked me, are you going back to your weights and you're lifting because you feel like on your self-esteem that you are not good enough? And I said, you know, there's that plus my health issues. You've got to find an outlet. And I think the first girl was having a problem of believing in herself and thinking that she's good enough. You've got to just put it like this: I'm going to focus on me. I'm going to make myself better. If that outlet is something like adult coloring, reading, or working out, find your outlet. Crocheting, sewing, something. Just don't focus on it right now. Give it some space. You know, there was a brilliant thing that I was once told, and I never, you know, thought of it as not brilliant, that sometimes, you know, if you walk away and focus on something else, and you don't run to your friends, which I heard this, if you don't run to your friends and tell them your thoughts and feelings, and you just distance yourself from the situation, you'll be surprised at how it works out. Now, it may not be the way you think, but it could be better too. So distance yourself from the situation. Don't dwell on it. Just distance yourself away from it. See what God has in store for you. Okay? So there's some big talk for you. See what God has in store for you. And then my next situation I would tell you about, with the guy's situation and her not saying I love you back, she could be having some situations in her past where the guy said I love you too quickly, and she's worried that you're saying it too. You could have the situation where maybe you've had a fight and not realize it, and she's taking something from that fight and holding it over your head by not repeating I love you. There are so many reasons why us girls don't feel comfortable saying I love you back. Fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, fear of not being what you want, that you're going to find somebody else, and you're using those 3 words to feel like you're going to make us enough so you can focus on us without focusing on somebody else. Just saying. That, I mean, from a perspective of being hurt and hearing those 3 words quite often, and then the guy not backing it up or not being able to back it up, or being the go-to guy to back those words up, that can be fearful as well. So keep that in your hat, if you will. You know, there's so many reasons. You know, some of us get scared from relationships. Some of us have previous relationships that scare us from current relationships. Some of us don't share all of our thoughts and feelings with the right people at the right time when we should. Instead, we tell friends and we think we can trust them or they're on our side, and then it turns out being the opposite thing, where we never should have told our friends, we never should have told anybody but that man that we're in the relationship with. And sometimes that backfires. So I hope I helped somebody tonight with my rambling after I answered the questions. But just don't be so closed-minded. Don't see it from one perspective. Try to see it from several perspectives, but at the same time, distance yourself and let God deal the cards. Whatever's meant to be is in God's will. That's what you got to do. Okay? And I think, you know, one of the most brilliant pieces of advice I ever heard was, besides God's timing, was if that person is your person and you know that you're going to work it out eventually and you're meant to be, then you don't have to force it. You don't have to be scared of it. You can trust it when it happens. Believe in it. And then it will just be. But it's the trusting it enough to get to that part, that's the scariest thing in the world. So, with that, oh, I said I wasn't going to do this. I'm going to get off here tonight and wish you all well again, okay? God bless. See you tomorrow.